first coming into the truth, how do you feel when considering the fact you could be the bridge between your worldly friend and family and the Most High? Second question, how long do you try to bring said friend and family outside of your household along? Well, I'll say this. I won't give a time, a definite time or definitive time, because discernment is a thing that's different for all of us. Or discernment is a skill that we all have to have, proving that everybody's not the same. It's different for everybody. So I don't know, what time to say. But I'll give you some identifiers, right? And some stipulations and guidelines. So let's do that. All right. So first it says when first coming into the truth, how do you feel when considering the fact that you could be the bridge between your worldly friends and family and the Most High? So I want to give you some stipulations and guidelines for that. So let's start with Ephesians 5 and 11. I'll write it.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness.
All right.
But rather reprove them.
Right. So it says have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, of darkness, of darkness, of darkness. Right? So that don't mean, entirely just cut them off, like, just they never hear from you, you never hear from them. That's not what that means. Look up the word fellowship real quick. Then you got Amos 3 and 3. Ba-dum. I just like that sound. Is that it? I say companionship. Okay, but you okay. So let's get fellowship in the screen at least. Scroll down a little bit, right there. All right. So as you can see, it says companionship or company, right? So that's part of it. That's part of it. Hold that right there. Let's get Sirach.
The book of Sirach, chapter 6, verse 34. Stand in the multitude of the elders and cleave unto him that is wise.
Read.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse.
Be willing to hear every godly discourse. That's why brothers come to the table. You just stand around. Just like me, you will never, I mean never, see me somewhere else. If leadership is there, since I had fringes on my shirt of any sort. Because when I first came in, it was just on the front. And that took a month to do. That took me a month. Not a month. Month. Yeah, a month to get them joints on the front. And they wasn't up there all the way. You know what I'm saying? But from the root all the way to now, you will never see me somewhere. If the leadership is somewhere, I'm there. Like, just listen. I'm not talking about talking. No, just like seeing what you can glean. He's been around me for a long time. Am I lying?
No, sir.
That's what it's talking about. That's what it's talking about. And that's how you learn and grow and strengthen your spirit, strengthen your faith. You know what I mean? But it says, stand in the multitude of the elders. Why are we reading this? Because the Lord is establishing plainly who to spend time around. Put the definition back on the screen. Who to spend time around, right? And these are the stipulations or guidelines for that relationship with those friends and family of the world, right? And your soul in this truth, right? It says companionship and company, right? Read that again, verse 34, it's Sirach 6.
Verse 34. Stand in the multitude of the elders.
Watch this.
And cleave unto him that is wise.
There is no wisdom out there. None. Not a little bit. There is no wisdom out there. So when we go back to Ephesians chapter chapter 5, verse 11. Read that again.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 11. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them.
So sometimes it might happen that you find yourself in their presence. Not in their fellowship, right? Go back to fellowship. Scroll down a little bit. So watch, it says at 2. At 2, you see definition 2 right there. It says community of interest, meaning you're interested in communing with them, right? Activity, feeling, or experience their fellowship. So it's, and then it says the definition B. It says the state of being a fellow or associate, right? That means that you cool with them. You can never teach somebody that they're doing wrong while they're doing it and you're okay with it. You can never do that. You can never do, they'll never learn, right? It says a company of equals or friends. A company of equals or friends. Now get Sirach chapter 13, verse 15. Sirach chapter 13, verse 15. We're going to come right back to this.
The book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 15.
Come on.
Every beast loveth his like.
It says every beast loveth his like. Come on. So sometimes we don't cut people off because we agree a little bit still. We still a little bit cool with that. But we don't want to say, you know, I'm still a little bit into sin. Sometimes we'll just mask it with, I'm trying to show you the right way. I'm not saying nobody in here, but again, we're going to go over these stipulations and guidelines. All right? Go ahead.
The book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 15.
Come on.
Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor.
And every man loveth his neighbor. That's what some of the words, put the definition back up there. Some of the words we read here was friend, associates, equals, fellow. Go ahead. I see comradely, comrade right there, right? Go ahead. Membership, partnership, right? Go ahead.
Verse 16, all flesh consorteth according to kind.
The Bible says all flesh assorteth to kind. According to kind. No, I'm not on the bishop, deacons, captains, some of the captains level. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But I'm trying to get there. So that's all. I'm not going to be nowhere else. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. You see that? Understand, Captain Jonathan has the devil, and he's gone off. Say, for a surety, that nigga done left. He is no longer with us. Yeah, he's left the building. Believe that you see me anywhere else. Go ahead. Leadership somewhere, and I'm somewhere else. Understand. Damn, Cap gone. Damn. Straight up. Straight up. Watch this. Go ahead. Read on.
And a man will cleave to his like.
And a man will cleave to his like. So it's important that we not comforting ourselves with some, because this is what happens a lot. And I was going to go over this too, because it's a lot of stuff I see that, you know, I got to deal with. But what happens a lot, even when we choose counselors, we come up in here, right? It's more prevalent with the sisters. Women do this a lot. What people do, not just the women, because brothers be doing it too, but typically women. But what people do is they pick a counselor based on, I say, because they'll ask me, or they'll ask, you know, leadership, they'll say, you know, how do I go about getting a counselor of 1,000? Like, what does it mean? We break it down, boom, boom, boom. This is what it means. This is what it is. This is how it should look, X, Y, and Z. Is it somebody who you've proven to, you know? And that's really I ain't going to say a trick question, but it's kind of is oxymoron the right word for that? I don't know, oxymoron? Who's good at words? You went to college, bro? Oh, you ain't good at words. Who went to college in here? I'm just messing with you. He is smart. Yes, it's sort of a thank you. You good at words, bro. Why you ain't say that? He did say it. I'm just messing with you. Right? So it's a combination of contradict. Yeah, not that. Yeah, not that. That's what I said right there, right? Yada? Yeah, nah. I'm not good at words, y'all. Low key, I am though. My mother was abusive. If we wasn't good at words, bro. She did the best she could against our head. Where we at? Read it again.
Yes, sir. Verse 16.
Oh, no. I was talking about the count. So people will say, how do we choose a counsel? You know, go through all that, boom, 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 boom. And it's really a rhetorical question because I want to gauge a person's spirit. Because some people say, I want a counselor of 1,000 because you're asked, or you might see a class where it's like, you don't counsel, you out the spirit. Like, what's wrong with you? So, I need a counselor. But you really don't. You just want to feel that, check that box so that ain't you no more, right? And what I see oftentimes is you'll have conversations with people and they'll make you laugh or they'll make you comfortable. And what that means is not just they funny. People should be funny. There's nothing wrong with that. People shouldn't make you, uncomfortable in some ways, right? But more so what people is talking about is everything that you're repenting from, they also repenting from. Everything that you deal with, battle with, they also battle with. Now the problem is, how do you know that? Because they're not really battling. So they make you feel comfortable. So you agree together. Amos 3:3. You agree together. So then you can walk together. So you're not really battling, they not really battling, and you peep it. They might not even tell you that for real. That might not even be the conversation. But you peep it. And they peep it. So y'all get along. Y'all agree now. Go ahead, read that.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed?
This is impossible. That's why we read in Sirach 13. All beasts consortive to kind. That's why we're reading that. So it's important that if you're looking to grow in the spirit, you're around somebody, like the scriptures say, cleave unto him that is wise. Cleave unto him that is wise. Stand in the multitude of the elders. But what's going to happen when you're amongst the elders? Say it again. You're going to get corrected. You're going to get, so a lot of people, you know what a lot of people do when they see a wise counselor, a wise friend, or a wise elder? They don't cleave. No. No, I'm sick today. Let me check on this over here real quick today. Let me, that's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, do that again, bro. Yeah, give him a full clip. All praise. Put out the shotgun. All praise. So look, read that again, Sirach 13.
The book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 16.
Watch this.
All flesh consortive to kind, according to kind. And a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship have the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly.
So the what?
So the sinner with the godly.
That's why we're reading in Ephesians, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. How do you reprove the works of darkness? Somebody raise your hand and answer that question. Let me hear Mishael.
Shalom, Shalom, Cap. With the Bible?
That's true. Damn, yeah. That's not what I was looking for. You're 100% correct. But it's something I'm looking for. It's something I'm looking for in particular.
Ask me again.
What I'll say it like this. What's one of the ways that you reprove the works of darkness? We give him one more shot, Shamai. He on your head, bro. Go ahead, give it go ahead, bro. Give it a shot.
You point out the faults.
That's true. So, okay, I'm trying not to give it away. But go ahead, let me hear Shemaiah.
Shalom, sir.
Shalom.
One way that you can reprove somebody is through your actions. You keeping the commandments, showing them how it's supposed to be.
That's right. But who? You got it? Let me hear Cameron. Cameron, right? Let me hear Cameron.
You remove yourself.
That's it. That's the main. That's one of the most because think about it like this. Both of them was right. Shemaiah and Mishael was right. But the issue is, do you typically stick around after you cut somebody out? Somebody got to bounce. They, they're uncomfortable now, especially if you're unrelenting. Especially if they're unrelenting. But what if it's at the Christmas party? But look, we just, for the sake of the equation, right? What if it's at the Christmas party? Who's going to leave? Not them, so who's going to leave? It's got to be you. So ain't nobody going, it's separation, or remove yourself has to happen for all intents and purposes. And that is if they love you, because it's not like there's no love there, right? Family, we love our family, we love our friends, right? But if they're not willing to change, they don't love you enough. They don't love you enough, and it is what it is. It is what it is, right? Go to
Book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 29. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee.
Now, what we typically call our ace boom coon, that right hand. That's my dude, man. That was my heart. That was my flesh, right? That's my right hand. If thy right hand, go ahead.
And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off, and cast it from thee.
And cast it from thee. Read.
For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish.
Come on.
And not that thy whole body should be cast into hell.
Right. So sometimes that's what it comes to. Everybody, listen, every soul don't belong to the Lord in righteousness. We ain't all, it says many are called, but few are chosen. So that's even for us up in here. So you can, all the more for the, family, friends, and loved ones out there. Like, our example is the best way we can lead them, like Shemaiah said. Us reproving them with the scriptures, like Mishael said, is one thing. But after that happens, it's not, just like, for instance, this is what you might notice, bro. You might notice you used to get a lot more phone calls from moms or sis or brother or cousin or friend or something like that. But now they a little bit more scarce, right? They're a little more scarce. Why? Because you done said, yeah, well, no, I don't do that no more, man, because, the word of God say that makes people uncomfortable. Because it's not like they think you wrong. It's because they know, and your conversation with them make them feel real bad about themselves. You understand? You're the example of righteousness. They're like, I ain't ready to stop being a whoremonger. I ain't ready to stop being a thief. I'm not ready to stop being a liar. I'm not ready to stop being covetous. I'm not ready to stop being all of those things. And neither do I believe I can be. So you just make me uncomfortable. But it's going to sound like you get on my nerves. Or it's going to sound like you in a cult. Or it's going to sound like some other derogatory thing they might say or regard you as. You understand? But in reality, you just show them everything wrong that they're doing in your example.
What is the nation?
Nation is men leading by example.